So it's been a while since I made a video. I went on a break. As you can see, we are on a different table now. So I went on break because I moved. And so I'm at the new house. I'm currently renovating an art studio here at the new house, but it's still underway. It's not going to be done for quite some time. So for now, I am at the kitchen counter. So the lighting is terrible. This is obviously a countertop. And there's probably going to be shadows. It's not ideal, but it's what I have to work with for now, so we're just going for it. Don't have a proper workstation now to work on my art. I had been trying to film some things and trying to work on some pieces, but in the packing and the unpacking, I lost some art supplies. So that was a big, frustrating setback. And I didn't have a table. I was, for the longest time, working on a fold-out TV tray. But I am here on the kitchen counter now. This is probably where I'm going to be painting for the majority of my time until I can get more headway with the studio renovations. So I apologize if my voice sounds a little rough during this video, since I will be doing a lot of talking through it. I'm just getting over a cold, so I'm still not 100%. So if I do get a little gravelly, that's why. I'm really sorry if it's terrible sounding and unbearable to listen to, but I didn't want to put this video off for any longer than I already had. So just bear with me. So let's just get right into it. Let's get started. So here is part one of my sketchbook tour. I'm only going to be going through about half of the sketchbook now, just so the video isn't super long and a lot of me prattling on. We will get to the part two once I have more time, and that probably won't be for a while. There's going to be other videos in between now and then, just because I have other projects that I want to work on. So we'll get to that when we get to it, but don't expect that video anytime soon. So here we go. Here is the sketchbook. If you didn't watch my vlog that I posted about my sketchbook journey, this is a Canson watercolor sketchbook. So there are some watercolor paintings in here because that's just what I love to do, and I love pops of color. I thought it would make it more interesting, and it was fun. So I really struggled on the first page because I was feeling pressure to make it pretty. So here is the first page. It's not as pretty as I would like it, but I love it actually. I wanted to just do, it started off as just a warm-up sketch that I did before working on something else, and I really was like, you know what, I just want to draw some flowy hair. So that's what I did, and the more I looked at it, I was like, she needs some color. And it evolved into a space girl with galaxy hair because that is my favorite thing to draw and illustrate. I love painting galaxy hair. So there she is with her blue skin and her cool hair. Page 2 and 3. So I did do double-sided for this whole sketchbook, which was fun. It took a while, but I did like doing that. I didn't want to paint these. I didn't want to get into painting everything because I wanted to just do fun cool-down sketches or warm-up sketches. So these two were actually cool-down sketches before bed. I really love this pose. I love the way it turned out. And I think I'm actually going to, I didn't paint it because I love it so much, I'm going to use this as a reference for probably something bigger. So you will be seeing this probably at some point in the future because I really like how it turned out, and it was just a mindless, again, I just wanted to draw some flowy hair and it just turned out so beautiful. I did a couple of studies in here because I actually do love drawing hands. I know a lot of people find them frustrating. I also find them frustrating, but I feel really like proud, and I draw hands. So I did a couple of those in here. So this page, I wanted to draw things that I hadn't drawn before because I wanted to practice. That was the purpose of the sketchbook, was to practice. So my mom requested that I draw her dog, Aurora, who is here somewhere. So I'm really bad at drawing animals, I guess, certain animals. So I did try to draw her. It's not perfect, but I think for a first time drawing a dog, I am happy with how it came out. It took me a long time to get to the point where I was okay with it. I kept wanting to fix it, but it serves its purpose. I just wanted to draw some different photos and references that I found on Pinterest. I never really draw straight hair, so that's kind of what I liked about this one, is I really wanted to draw like sleek hair. So that's that. Here we have some more color. I, of course, had to put Lore Olympus in my sketchbook. I thought a good study would be to illustrate a couple of my favorite scenes from Lore Olympus and some of my favorite characters, so you will see that as a recurring theme throughout the sketchbook. So here we have Persephone, which I really like how her hair turned out. I'm really proud of this one. I didn't put too much effort into it, I just had fun with it, and it paid off. On this side, I was trying to do some like garden studies. It's really sloppy, it's really lazy. So for these flowers, I wanted to do lineless art. I wanted to just do just the paint and kind of get like a Bob Ross vibe going on, and I obviously couldn't do that. So they didn't turn out great. They kind of look like something that I would have made in elementary school. And then I just sketched out some really cool mushrooms that I saw outside of my house. So I did some anatomy studies. I did a whole page of butts because I thought, what's something that I don't get a lot of practice drawing? And it was butts and legs and back muscles, that kind of thing. So I just got a bunch of references from Pinterest, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna draw butts. And I like how they turned out. They're pretty good butts. Over here we have Aphrodite from Lore Olympus. I actually really don't like how this one turned out. I didn't do her justice. I really liked the outfit that she was wearing in this still that I chose. So that's why I wanted to draw it, but I didn't do a good job. But that's okay. You know, the whole purpose of the sketchbook isn't to do a good job, so it was something. I do like how the fabric lines in the shirt turned out, but other than that, I could have done a lot better. Oh, so here, we have the Sailor Moon redraw challenge, which was a lot of fun. I did post this one on Instagram already a while back because I wanted something, I wanted to just kind of mix up the layout of the sketchbook. So I did 2 illustrations that were the long way instead of, landscape instead of portrait. And yeah, I actually really love how this turned out. It was a lot of fun. I thought I was just doing it just for kicks, and it turned out really great. So I did post that on my Instagram. On this side, we have another still from Lore Olympus. This one did not turn out great. I love the way the hair turned out, but overall, it's so sloppy. It's really messy. I couldn't do what I wanted. So I would say that this was not a success, but that's okay. You get some, and you don't get some. There we go. So here I went back to not painting, just getting some illustrations in. So here is another recurring theme that you'll see throughout the sketchbook is not good at drawing things in profile. I'm not good at drawing sideways faces, so I really wanted to practice that in the sketchbook, and I did that a lot, and some of them are really good, like this one. I really like how the face turned out, and then some aren't so good, like this one. But I like the concept of it, but it didn't come out good. So here we have just another study page. I wanted to draw another animal, so I drew this semi-albino deer that I had seen on vacation when I went to a wildlife preserve in Pennsylvania. So I just, sketched him out. I didn't put any color on him because he was albino, so there was kind of no point. And here I drew some plants, or a plant that I saw on Pinterest, and I thought, that's a cool plant. Let me paint it, and so I did. This is one of my favorite pages in the sketchbook So it's again from Lore Olympus. This whole section was dedicated to Minthy, who is one of the antagonists of Lore Olympus. Everybody hates her, which you should. But she's just got some really interesting scenes and some really cool illustrations around her character. So I did a couple of illustrations of Minthy. So here she is, and I really like how they turned out. And I liked that I did the 2 scenes in one page. I didn't do enough of that, I feel like, for the sketchbook. Maybe I'll throw some of that in towards the end, but I didn't do enough of that, and it's really interesting to look at, and I kind of regret that I didn't be a little bit more daring. Okay, so here I was trying to do a galaxy watercolor study. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I like to do a lot of salt texture and galaxy backgrounds in my art. This was not a success. I don't know what went wrong here, because I do paint a lot of galaxies, and this just didn't work for whatever reason. I think it was maybe the salt. Well, I mean, it's gotta be, because the salt pattern went crazy here. It's still cool though. It was still fun. It's salt and watercolor and ink is always really fun to play around with. It just didn't turn out looking like a galaxy. On this side was another still from Lore Olympus that was coming out terribly. I wanted to try a different pose, and it was a really not interesting pose, but not a pose that I was comfortable drawing. And so that's why I wanted to draw it, but that's also where I went wrong drawing it. So I just was like, you know what? I did enough of it. I tried it. I couldn't quite get it, so I moved on, and that was okay. You'll see here, there's a little bit of smudging from the galaxy onto this page. That happened a couple times throughout the sketchbook. That when I just closed it and, you know, was moving it around and stuff, there was a lot of transfer. And I don't think that that really has anything to do with the paper. So the paper itself that this sketchbook is full of, it does smudge really easily with pencil. If I were to like run my hand across this, it would smudge. But also some of the paints that I'm using are really cheap and chalky. So I think the two things combined, it didn't make for a good finish, but that's okay. So here's just some more studies from Pinterest. One thing I wanted to do was practice drawing different body types. So I actually pulled up a bunch of pictures of Victoria's Secret models. I kept getting ads for Victoria's Secret on Facebook, and it's really funny because I don't wear any Victoria's Secret merchandise, but I kept getting ads, and I kept thinking, oh, that's a really interesting body shape, or oh, that's a really interesting pose. You can really see a lot of the anatomy. So I kept saving the pictures, which probably then led to Facebook giving me more Victoria's Secret ads, because they're like, oh, she's clicking on it. But I wasn't clicking on it for the merchandise. I was clicking on it because the models I thought were interesting enough to do anatomy studies off of. So there are a couple of Victoria's Secret model studies in here. This was just something else I saw on Pinterest. I was gonna paint this at first, and I hated the way it turned out, and so I just didn't continue with it, but that's okay. Here we have the beginnings of another Victoria's Secret model. I kind of just stopped caring about it, so I moved on from that one. I find it very hard to draw less curvy women. I also don't draw a lot of men, because for whatever reason, if you see here on my mermaids, there's a lot of flow and a lot of roundness to their curves and their shape. And so when I'm trying to draw like a model body, who tend to be more athletic and toned and not so curved, it's not something that I'm super comfortable drawing. I feel like I can't ever get the lines and the anatomy correctly, and maybe that's why I draw curves a little bit more, because for whatever reason you can get away with not being as accurate with anatomy if you're drawing somebody who's curvy. Like, nobody really cares, which is kind of stupid. But so I wanted to just get better at drawing accurate body types, and I'm still struggling with that. So that's something that I will continue to practice. But so here we have some mermaids. Here is another one of my favorite pages. So I wanted to do a water study. I never really painted water before. And so I tried it. You know, actually what inspired me to do this page was a YouTube video by Kellogg's Loops. I will link his video in the description. It was really helpful. I didn't follow his tutorial exactly. I kind of just watched his video and learned from what he was saying, and then kind of got my own inspiration from it and tried it on my own. And I really like how this turned out. And then, so because these waves were so serene looking and so very clearly watery, I wanted to put something here that kind of went with that. So I have this portrait here, and her hair just made me think that it was like blowing in a nice ocean breeze. You know, not that relaxing kind, like you're standing on a cliff face with the waves crashing up on the rocks underneath you and your hair is just going places. So that's what I wanted to invoke from this page, like a very romantic and wistful ocean setting. And I don't know if it came off that way to anybody else, but I'm really happy with it. Here we have just a couple more hands. I just really love drawing hands. And these ones, they're, you know, boring, but they're good hand references. And it was just, these were cool down sketches before bed, because hands are something that I really don't struggle too much with drawing. So it was easy for me to just say, hey, I'm getting tired. Let me just draw a couple hands before bed, and then I can just go to bed feeling relaxed and productive. So I have another mermaid here. This started off as an anatomy study, but the pose just screamed mermaid to me. And so her hair is kind of like seaweedy, and I was gonna paint this, but then I kind of just liked how it looked as is. And for this page, I really just wanted to draw some flowy hair. I was really just feeling flowy hair that night. It's one of my favorite things to draw. I find it really relaxing. So that's where this came from. I wanted to just not even focus on the face, I just wanted to focus on the hair. But then I was feeling like I just needed a little bit of color for this page. But I didn't want to go too overboard. I wanted to just do something really simple. And I like that it came out pretty pastel looking. I don't usually paint anything with pastel tones to it. I'm usually pretty vibrant with my colors. And so it's like just really soft looking, and it's different to me than anything I've really painted, so I like it. So here we have another mermaid. I, again, just thought like I just needed a little bit of color in the sketchbook. So I just was like, you know what? I don't want to paint the whole mermaid, but I thought it needed some color. And then I kind of thought maybe the water wasn't really apparent in the sketch. So I was like, let me just color a little bit of the water just so you get the idea of the pose. On this page, I called this the collarbone page because that's really what it was about. I just wanted to practice collarbones and necks, which I really enjoy illustrating. Oof. Okay, so here we did some more profile faces. This one came out terrible. It's just, there's no fixing it. She came out terrible, but that's okay. This one came out a little bit better. It's not my best, but it's okay. It was, again, just for practice. And I put the face up so high that then I was like, okay, we need something else going on. So I just did another face, which is just, you know, a regular face. So on this page, again, I just wanted to draw some flowy hair. I find that to be the best way for me to unwind before I go to bed. If I'm in an art mood, I just will draw some flowy hair. I just didn't feel like painting this one. It didn't need it. It was just to get some movement in the hair. And I painted my cat. This is O'Malley. I've never really drawn a cat before, so it's not great, but I really like the way her little tiger stripes and the fur came out with the watercolor. So I think this made me definitely want to paint more watercolor animals. So that might be something that I work on in the future. All right, I wanted to do a landscape study. Since the flowers at the beginning were so terrible, I wanted to try again. So I took a picture and then I was like, you know what, that would work really well for a study. And it didn't come out great. Again, I was trying to channel my inner Bob Ross and I didn't want to do lines. I just wanted to paint what I saw and not overthink it. If I spent more time on it, it definitely could have come out better, but I was happy with it. So in here we have another Persephone from Laura Olympus, in my favorite hairstyle of hers through the series. And so I just wanted to do something quick, something easy. I'm not super proud of it. Her eyes came out a little wonky, but that's okay. All right, we have another portrait with flowy hair. Again, not great, but I just wanted to do it just to get the practice in, and I'm slowly starting to get better at it. And we have another mermaid. So I love mermaids. I love painting them, I love drawing them. I just don't ever make full illustrations of them to put on my Instagram. I never actually make anything that's just like a mermaid piece. So the sketchbook was a good way for me to like get that mermaid itch out of my system without worrying about making a full illustration. So here we have another mermaid. Again, I wanted to just do like a hint of the water, but I did want to give her some color. And so I gave her a little bit of scales. She's got some scales on her skin. And I had a lot of fun with the hair. All right, so on one side of the page, we have a very failed anatomy study that, again, I quit halfway through because it was just not working out. I don't know what it is. And then on this side, I wanted to practice drawing different or painting different light values. That's not something that I ever really care about too much in my illustrations. I never focus too much on where the light and the shadows are coming from, and that is something I want to get better at because I think it'll take my art to another level. You know, there's always room for improvement, and I think that is definitely something that I'm lacking in. So I wanted to practice it here. This is also a face angle that I'm not comfortable with. So I obviously used a reference for this. And I really like how it turned out. I think it came out a lot better than I was expecting. So I definitely should probably do more studies and get more comfortable with that kind of thing. Here, I, again, just wanted to draw some hair, started to draw a face with it, and went, you know what, it's not about the face. I just wanted to draw hair. So that's what I focused on, just drawing hair. We have another Victoria's Secret model. I had a lot better time with this one. It was an interesting pose, and it just kind of worked out better for me. Oh, okay. Really nice page. So we have two more shots from Laura Olympus. Over here we have Rhea, and there was this scene that I just loved of her, and I was like, I have to recreate this. It's like the first, I think, instance in the comic where we see her as a character, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's this magnificent giant woman who literally has like a golden sun halo coming out of her head. And I loved it, and so I wanted to create that. And so here she is. And so funny enough, as much as I love using gold ink in my illustrations, I didn't even think to put gold into my sketchbook until I did this. And I'm like, oh my God. So you'll see more of that, but not too much. I think it's also because the gold ink takes so long to dry. It gets in the way of sketchbooking. But I really like how this one turned out, and I'm probably gonna post this on my Instagram. On this side, we have Hera, the queen of the gods. And there was this one scene in the webcomic where she was just pissed off, and her hair is just whipping around in the wind. And she was just so angry, and I just loved the mood of that, and I love drawing flowy hair. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna draw that. And so, yep, there she is. So this was actually fun though, because it was a different expression. And I should have done more of that, of different facial expressions, because it did take me a while to draw her like stern face. And it's definitely not amazing, but it's a difference of what I normally draw. So I should try to do more of that at some point. Okay, this I call my fail page because I tried to again practice drawing profiles, and they were terrible. I don't know what was going on with me that day, that I just like couldn't draw. And then you can see down here, I was like, well, maybe if I just stop drawing freehand, maybe if I do that tool where you draw the circles and you draw the lines and you try to line everything up, I could do it better. And it's just like, it's not the way I draw. So I did want to try it, but it didn't make a difference. I think I was just in like, there's days where you're just, your hands and your brain won't cooperate and you just can't make anything. So this is, you know, one of those. And I thought about going back and erasing it or adding something to it. And I was like, you know what? Leave it as it is. It was a failed attempt, but that's what it was. Okay, and here we have a pretty good attempt. So I wanted to take some inspiration from Pinterest. I kind of took little bits and pieces from different pictures and references and made this character. I don't draw ponytails or a lot of updos. Usually it's like long flowy hair or just like straight hair. So I wanted to just draw like a normal hairstyle. And I also tried something different with her eyes. I tried to tweak the way I do eyelashes a little bit to kind of give them a little bit closer to realism. And I do like that. So in this case, this was a way to push my art forward. We did that here. Here's another hand, because I was just feeling good and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna draw a hand, and it came out nice. Some hair studies. This is the hair page. I never draw straight hair, and I'm starting to really appreciate straight hair. Something about, because I'm always drawing wavy hair and flowy hair, something about the sleekness of the lines I'm starting to really appreciate. So here is some straight hair, and over here we have some really curly hair, which I'm learning that I hate drawing. It's too many curls, too many lines. It looks so nice, but it's just such a pain. It takes forever. All right, and here we have some more flowy hair. This side profile I really love. I really like how this one turned out. Something about it, I can't really tell you. I think it's maybe the chin. I don't know, but I think that this was my best attempt at this point. And then I just kind of added some hair just to give it some mood. And yeah, it's just a really nice frame by itself. And over here, again, just more flowy hair. I did this one before bed because that's what I do before bed, is I draw flowy hair. All right, and this is our last page as we are halfway through the book. On a ending of a grand finale, here is another Lore Olympus page. So on this side we have Dread Queen Persephone, as she is, you know, in horror after murdering a bunch of people. It's probably one of the more iconic frames in the series so far. So I really love how this one turned out, and I will be posting this on my Instagram. I posted it onto a Facebook group, and it got a lot of attention. So I think I will post this one and not let it just live in the sketchbook forever. And on the side we have Demeter and Persephone, and we could see some of the pink from this page transferred over here, but that's okay. So again, we have a little bit of gold there for Demeter's jewelry, and I had never illustrated Demeter before, and again, it was an opportunity to do two profile faces, and I struggled a little bit with it because, as you can, I don't know if you noticed, all the other profiles that I had drawn in the sketchbook so far, all of their eyes were closed because that was a cheat for me. I don't know how to draw in profile with eyes open yet, so I tried it here. It's not great. but at least kind of now it helped me learn where I had a roadblock, and then I'm learning how to work past that. So here was just a really nice page, and I really like how Demeter turned out. So that is that. That is the sketchbook part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be posting some of these on my Instagram as actual posts, but most of them will just live in the sketchbook as sketches. So that is that. I will see you guys for the next video. Thank you so much for watching.